Hello, hello, everybody. Oh, hold on. Need to mute myself so I can move my mic and I don't blow y'all's ears out. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Much better. Much better. Good morning, everybody. Good evening. Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Got a bunch of people here from lots of familiar faces: Netherlands, Germany, Texas, Florida. Got lots of cool stuff going on. Kyle says, I spent an hour doing bookkeeping this morning trying to figure out what the random $5 charge was. Only remembered it was from a past premise, like when I did a super chat. That's hilarious, dude. That $5 ended up costing you probably more than $5, didn't it? But I appreciate it. You were one of my very first donations, Kyle, so that should make you feel like royalty, I believe. All right, so hi from Netherlands and Colombia, Ireland. Awesome. You are on time today. Welcome in. Let's see. Let me double check. All my levels and stuff are good. Everything going on in the chat. Happy to see everybody. Stratos, good evening. Super excited to see everybody. So how was everybody's weekend? Hopefully you guys were able to at least get outside a little bit. I know lots of people are in lockdowns that are a bit more strict than we have here in the US, so I feel for you guys. But I think I mentioned to you guys last week that I was going camping, and that was super fun. So yeah, it was freezing, absolutely freezing. We were in North Alabama, and it was like 38 degrees Fahrenheit when we woke up in the car. So it was it was so cold. Anyway, so while I was gone, well, actually, we were getting ready to leave, and I saw Elijah and the Oxygen team dropped Oxygen 3.8 Alpha. And so I've had to play with that since I've gotten back, and it's super exciting, really cool stuff. So of course we have the code editor improvements, which are really neat. And then we also have the advanced queries. So that's the main focus of what we're going to cover today. How far we're going to get, I have no idea, but it should be pretty fun. And there's lots of cool stuff that we can achieve with the advanced query. I have some notes over here. Let me get those pulled up real quick again and just make sure I have them prepared. So basically, a few things that we can do is, of course, cover the built-in query stuff. There's quite a few. I think there's 5 or 6 built-in ones, which are neat. And then another thing that I've seen people ask for and have had asked of me numerous times is how you can use a repeater to pull in the images from the media library that basically was impossible without hand coding a loop before, but now you can actually do that, which is pretty cool. Strato says, can we spend a minute to say that this advanced query feature is something that is nowhere else and no other tool? That's absolutely true. Another level up from Oxygen. It just keeps getting better and better. And now that they have their composite elements, they're going to be, whatever the word is, cash flow positive, I'm sure. So they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, we have the images from the media library is something we're going to cover as well. Another cool one that people have requested that I've seen before that's actually relatively simple now is order posts by comment count. So we're going to try that. Then also published, published before or after a specific date. So there's the whole date query, which can get pretty complex, but I wanted to see how we can do before and after a specific date. Another one that I thought about that I made a note on was category with most posts. So we'll try that one. Then another one I thought about was ACF taxonomy field. So I'm not sure if that one's going to be neat. And then I probably won't get to it today, but another one that I made a note on was the products on sale query. So that might be kind of cool. J1MTV, hello, glad to see you guys. So many familiar faces. I say guys, I am gender neutral when I say that. So welcome everybody. Now, let's see. So one thing I wanted to mention that I actually just saw this morning that was a share from Sridhar. Of course, he has a million things out there and everything he shares is amazing, is this right here. So this link is a GitHub link. I think I might be able to drop it in chat. Let me see if I can do that so you guys can pull this up. Let's see if I just stick that in there. So that link that I just put in chat is basically the WP query reference. So this is going to be super helpful if you're trying to achieve something specific in the WP query in Oxygen now, which of course we'll get to in a bit, but I wanted to show you, this will show you all of the available options, and this is extremely helpful. So I went through this, and that's how I came up with like the before and after date idea. And then, it's just a great reference for you to have. So like, what does a post type array give you? All the available options there, for instance. So you can play with this. Thought it would be nice to show you guys this, and credit to Sridhar for the share on this one. So J1M says, with advanced query, I was able to do a relationship query, but it still doesn't work on the builder. I wasn't able to get it to work with more than one post. So with the ACF post object field and the ACF relationship field, if there was more than one post in that, then it wouldn't work. It just basically showed the first one and none of the others. So that is potentially a limitation, unfortunately. But Taylor, good to see you, buddy. Glad to have you here. So I'm going to leave this open for now, and let's go ahead and switch over here to our WordPress dashboard. So this is a totally blank site right now. We're going to play with it and just build something from the ground up. So we're going to start with FakerPress, which is just a simple plugin that will help us produce some posts here. So I'm going to do like 15 to start off with, and then, or actually let's do 5 posts, and then we're going to set their date to some point like way in the past. I guess I'll just type it in. So let's go like 2016 05 or something like that to 2016 10 12, something like that. And the reason why I want this is because I mentioned just a bit ago we're going to do some posts before a certain date and after a certain date. So we'll use those from 2016. We will allow comments because we're going to organize the post by most commented and a little bit. Multiple authors is also pretty cool. So you could show posts only from the current author, I think, which would be really incredible for like, user generated blog websites and stuff like that, or like membership sites, directories, that kind of thing. Lots of really cool use cases. I do want these to have photos. So I'm going to use Lorem Pixum here. And actually, let's see. We probably need to add some categories before we get too far here. So I'm just going to make some stuff up. We're going to add food, travel, shopping. Let's go with like attractions. And then what else? Maybe one more. Attractions, shopping, travel, food. We'll just go with like featured. So now we have a couple categories. And I don't know if this is going to refresh. Oh, it does. Sweet. I didn't even have to reload the page. So I'm going to make sure that these posts have categories attached to them. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that each post can only have a maximum of one category right here. Rate will be 100. And then for the attachment, once again, Lorem Pixum, 100% of them will have photos, and we'll generate this first batch of posts. Sorry, Kyle. I'll go add that for you, buddy. So category, Kyle, there we go. Bam. And that's because you donated last time, so I appreciate that. So we have the first 5. Now let's go ahead and do this again. Oh, look, there's a comments button. I didn't even notice that before. That's sick. We're going to have to play with that in just a bit because we're going to organize by comment count as well. So we're going to do a quantity this time. Let's go with 10. And then let's make this date yesterday is going to be fine for these. We will allow comments. Author is fine. Going to get rid of some of those HTML tags. And then I'm glad that made you stoked. Thank you. Image providers, categories. This one we need Kyle, 100%. These are all going to be in the Kyle category. Like that. And then we don't actually have any taxonomies, so we're going to leave that. Placeholder it, Lorem Pixum. We're going to generate those bad boys. Elijah says FakerPress is so useful. It's also easy to delete all the generated posts later. Yeah, it's super great. I don't really know if I would have a use case for this, except in like really early stages of website builds, or like in this case, for demo things. But it's very, very handy. I didn't actually know that you could delete this stuff. That's pretty sweet. Maybe you go to settings. Erase. Oh yeah, there it is. Pretty cool. Taylor says, how about filtering by start and end date? Yeah, definitely. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if I mentioned that before you joined, but we're definitely going to do that. So then now we have, what do we have? 15 posts here. Now each of the, oh shoot, I forgot to category. Oh, no. These are old posts. I had some on this demo install that I used that have like missed schedule somehow. Oh, what am I doing here? Sorry, y'all. I'm bobbing out hardcore. Let me uncheck this. Let me make sure I'm selecting the right ones. We're going to move those to trash, and I think we got to do a little bit more here. So then we're going to have some posts that have a category that are from 2016. Then we also have the ones from air quotes yesterday that the category is set to Kyle. Now those are uncategorized. I'm not sure how I missed those. That's not that big of a deal. Let's just go ahead and generate another batch real quick that will have more than one category just for the sake of example. So I am going to set these back in time a bit. Let's go to 2020. We'll go to, actually that's a bad year. We're going to go to 2019, 02, 02, and then 2019, 11, 12, something like that. So comments, yes. Get rid of all that. Lauren Pixum, going to move quickly here so that we have a couple posts with more than one category. I'm just going to select all of them, and then we'll set it to a maximum of 3. Like that, 100% of them. And then Lauren, 100, bam. Okay, cool. So let's see. Elijah, you were right about 3.8. It's awesome. Yes, totally agree. The reception is very, very good. 0 is not a number good to fake. Whoops-a-daisy. That's not what I meant to do. I'm going to go with 12. So generate those. And then let's go from here. So now I need to get some comments on these posts. So hopefully I can scale it so that the comments are, like varying numbers, because I want it to be organized by number of comments. And then we're going to jump into actually looking at the advanced queries. So I wanted to walk through all this so you guys can see. So type is default. What other options do you have? Nothing, apparently. So that's fine. How many comments should be generated? Use both fields to get a randomized number of comments within the given range. So let's go from 3 to 12. And then we're going to go to posts from this year, which I think we have a few of, right? Oh, we actually have a lot of them. So all the ones from Kyle. So this year, comment count, comment content. We're just going to make this 2 paragraphs, so it's not really, or even just 1, actually. I'm going to reduce some of these tags so that the stuff here isn't crazy big. We'll just go with paragraph only, actually. And then what is our meta type here? So we don't really need to worry about any of that. So we're going to generate some comments. So there's only 4. Which of our posts got comments? That one. But I wanted more. What if I just do it again? Again, there we go. So refresh. Okay, cool. So now we have some posts that have 3, 2, 1, perfect. So now we can see how they're going to be organized. Yeah, Kyle, completely agree with you. So I don't bother with any of the content recommendations from any of the SEO plugins. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go into a singular template for our blog. In fact, I think I need to go to my settings real quick and set my reading to blog for my post page, because we're going to create a blog singular template. And then oxygen templates, add new, and then we're going to just go blog singular will be our template name. We'll do the posts there, and then also blog post index like that. So publish this. And then we will edit this with Oxygen. And also, so we can see it, I'm going to view our blog page on the front end like this. Cool. So Cease, hopefully I'm saying your name right, says, I'm using bidirectional queries now with ACF related object. I hope that I can do that with this advanced query. I don't know that that quite works, but J1M says that it does, apparently. So hopefully it does. All right. So we're going to create just a really simple layout here to give us something visual. So our background on this section will just be our post featured image, because they should all have featured images. We'll set an image overlay that's kind of dark so we can stick our post title right on top. I know that isn't exactly 30, so I'm just going to type it manually. So left 50 and top 50 for our photo. Our heading here is going to be the post title, and we'll make this guy white. And then Andre says singular and blog index in one template. Well, I mean, this is our post template, so that, oh yeah, that actually doesn't make sense. You're right. So this template should actually not have that selected. You're right. Should just be our blog post. No. it shouldn't have this selected. We just want our singular posts like that. So forgive my mistake. I'll fix that in a little bit. With the heading, let's go with 16 pixels of padding. And then we're going to add in the category here. So we're going to use the insert data categories taxonomy of category. Our separator will be a comma and a space like that. And then, of course, oh, good. This category is Kyle. I know, Kyle, I destroyed it. I suck at this. So far, I haven't had any issues with 3.8 alpha or with the WordPress 5.7 or any combination of the two. Now, one thing you're probably wondering is how you would change this text color, because if you go over here to text color, it doesn't do anything. That is super simple. All you need to do is take this little text, or maybe another way, maybe you can change like the link color in your settings here. But what I'm going to do is just basically go like this. So, oh, whoops, I need to add the A. This is actually a good time for us to demonstrate the new color or the new code changes, which is pretty sweet. So there is that. Let's go ahead and just bring this down a bit so we can make this a bit more readable. And now we should have our link here is changed to white as well. So we're going to comment out this PHP. And look, we have our editor themes as well. So this is something in 3.8 that got introduced if you haven't had a chance to look at this. So of course you have your default styles, and there's also some changes here. Let's go pull in some code. Let me pull up just some like random, let's see, some PHP. Let's see. We'll just go with ACF post object field because we were talking about that earlier. So ACF post object. Here we go. This one is good because hopefully it will wrap on our page like this. So what's super cool about this is now you have code highlighting. So this is super awesome. Now you can see what tags correspond to what. So this UL tag right here, you click it and it highlights the corresponding one. The, let's see, where's another one that lights up? Of course, this isn't, there we go. So like an AHref, you can see what is actually working in here, which is really helpful because you can now kind of see that this PHP kind of begins and ends there. That is the closing A tag for that particular link, which is super awesome. That span is contained in this whole thing. So the code highlighting is super awesome. And then the other thing is you also have wrap. So if you have a line of code that goes off your page like this, which does sometimes happen, then of course you also have wrap, which is great. And then you also have the code editor styles. So Dracula is one. This one I think looks really, really nice. Some of the other ones are kind of hard on the eyes and they don't quite highlight the stuff that's important to me personally, but maybe they work for you. And then Midnight, that one, see like this UL tag is like almost unreadable for me. And I do have a decent contrast monitor. So I don't know if maybe it's just this particular style, or maybe it's like de-emphasizing the considered, like unimportant stuff. But there is that. And then we also have Eclipse, which is like a collapsed sun. So I'm not sure if anybody is ever going to use that, but maybe for contrast sake, then you could. I think Dracula is my go-to. And it also does save your theme choice. So like if I refresh this template, then I'm going to keep Dracula. And then of course, the same thing applies over here in our CSS. Now, another one I wanted to show you real quick is the JS section. So for those of you guys like myself that are not super JS wizards, then this is really helpful. Like for instance, if we go to our JavaScript tab and we were to paste in some JS, now if you click on the little curly brackets, you can see which one corresponds where. So that is extremely helpful when you're trying to modify some JavaScript, or if you made a mistake and you need to figure out what you did, then obviously you could use undo. But more specifically, you can now kind of understand the code better. Like where do these things sort of correlate? And in the case of JavaScript, that for me personally is going to be super helpful. So we don't need this in our JavaScript. Our CSS is for our category link that we were working with a bit ago. And then this PHP is just example. So we'll go ahead and just delete this stuff. Let's delete that. And we're going to be good to go. So now what I wanted to do was, I've actually never tried this, but I wanted to see if I could get it to output the number of comments. So is there, let's see. Oh yeah, it's right there. I never even tried this. No comments. There are no comments yet. One comment. Do we just put one? Multiple comments. What if I just leave it blank? No comments. Okay, of course, this particular one has no comments. So maybe I need to go real quick and find some of my posts that actually have some. So let's switch over to this one here with 3. So Doloribus is the one I'm looking for. Doloribus. Is it Magnum? Doloribus Reum, of course. I chose the wrong one. Doloribus Reum Velet. Cool. Okay, so that has 3 comments. Sweet. Now that's one that is uncategorized, of course, but that's okay. We're going to stick with that for now. The other thing I wanted to do just quickly is put these side by side. So I'm going to put that in a div, set it to horizontal, and then just add some margin to the right of this guy. And there we go. And we'll just center that for this example. So cool. Have a super basic heading now. So let's actually get into some of the cool stuff here. So in our repeater, which is what we're going to use, if you click on query, of course, then now you have this advanced option, which is neat. So the advanced option, like I showed earlier, some of you guys may not have been in the stream at that time, but is essentially allowing you to build a WP query, which before you would have had to write by hand, you would have had to custom code it, but now you can do pretty much everything that you could in a WP query in either your repeater or in EasyPost. So this link right here, I threw in chat earlier, and what it will do is give you a really nice reference for everything that the WP query can do. So see you later, Kyle. Thanks for joining. With the WP query, you can do a lot of really cool stuff. We don't have time to cover every single thing in detail, but we are going to do a few of these things today. So anyway, just wanted you to know that. Now we do have a ton of presets. So let's take a look at the first one. So posts of the same type as the current. Now this one isn't going to be particularly interesting only because we're already looking at just a basic post. And in this case, I don't have other custom post types, but that one is pretty self-explanatory. That one's pretty cool. So now you could do the second one, all posts except the current. So let's say you have, well, let's just try it. Let's just do it real quick. Let's build a little layout in here. So we're going to add a div that will be, let's go with 30%. Our background image is going to be its featured image. We'll just set that to featured image and insert that. And then we're going to go 15 pixels to the right. We'll add in a heading. Oops, it's sticking it on top of the div. That's not what I wanted. So I'm only using the repeater in the single post template because I want to show what it can do. And also because there are use cases like for recent posts or similar posts, read more, stuff like that, that would actually apply to a single post. So let me stick in the title here. So we'll find a practical example here so that it makes sense. We'll stick that div in, and then underneath that, we are going to go with text, and then we'll just do the excerpt of that post. I'm going to make this horizontal. Oh, not that div. I want this one. We're going to make that horizontal, and then let's see here. So our div, we set to 30% width, but maybe we need to do a minimum width of like 250 like that, so things are lined up properly. And then we also need to set a width on this div here. So let's go like 65%. There we go. And yeah, that looks good. Perfect. Now the excerpts are kind of long. So if we save real quick and take a look on the front end, this post right here is called Doloribus Reum Velet, which is extremely confusing, obviously. And I have this singular template. Let's see. I actually need to go change the template settings from earlier so that this makes sense. I need to go back. So let's see, that is the singular template. So I need to turn off this blog post index and just make sure that it's singular posts only. So that was my mistake. That's why it wasn't working. Andre pointed that out, and then I didn't get a chance to fix it. So that's why it didn't load the proper page. Okay. So now, once we get back in here, we should have a better result. So we are on this particular post called ET Officius. So now if we go look at this on the front end, then we're not going to see that particular post in this repeater, which is great. You could do something like a manual query before and use offset 1, but this is essentially doing that for you. So let's actually take a look at this now. If we go to our repeater here, query and go to edit, then you can just see basically what it's doing is post not in, and then let's take a look. Is it using the ID or just the post title? It's using the data of ID. So now if we could click this dynamic data button, what's extremely awesome about this is there's more in the advanced section down here. So this is going to bring in the current post ID for you automatically, or the current post type, or the current post taxonomy terms, which can be incredibly powerful when you start combining all this stuff in the advanced query. So PHP function return value is extremely flexible, and you can do a lot of stuff with that. That was already there before the 3.8 update, but now it gets even better. Some other very common use cases here, and that's all this particular one is doing. If I go ahead and click that, we're going to get essentially to the same point. So post not in this current post's ID. So that one is a relatively simple query, and you can start combining all kinds of other stuff with that if you want. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these other ones. So children of current post. Now that to me would be really cool for something like nested pages. So like if you had an account page and then underneath that you had, like change password, edit account, membership, downloads, whatever you had, then that would output everything underneath that. I imagine you could probably do children of current post with things like, WooCommerce stuff. That might be kind of cool. And then related post by terms. So let's do this. That one's a really cool one. So this looks kind of silly. I was joking because Kyle said make a category called Kyle. So this right here is actually our category for this particular post, which is Kyle. So what I'm going to do is set my repeater here and change the query type to related post by terms. I'm going to use this post category and apply that. Then once it loads, what we're going to find on the front end is that we now only have, whoa, gosh, that looks horrible. What'd I do? What did I break? Oh, there we go. Now it's working. The featured image isn't appearing there. Why would that be? Is it because I didn't set the background to cover? Or maybe I didn't set a height. So let's just minimum height 250. 250 is kind of high. Maybe 200, 150. Perfect, 150. All right. Now, I'm going to get back to the front end. So there is our posts, but to make it look a bit more clean, what I'm going to do is actually change this text. Change this text from excerpt to category. And these aren't really going to have more than one because I think all the ones that have the category of Kyle are just set to that one single category. And what I want to do here is add some margin beneath that. I used 16 pixels before, so let's actually go 32, keep things really consistent. Now, this one is also blue because of the link. This is technically a link. So save this, and then let's go refresh real quick. So as you can tell, all these posts that are left in this repeater would be, the ones that are in this same category as the current post. So if we take a look real quick at the repeater, under the query and edit, this is doing a lot of super cool stuff for you. So this is where it starts to get kind of complex, but this is what you would do with like a hand-generated query. So post type, it's looking at the current post type, which in this case is just the basic WordPress posts. Then the taxonomy query, it's looking for an array. In this array, it's looking at the taxonomy of category. The terms is this current post's terms and its category. And then it's also grabbing the field slug. And then it's also going ahead and doing what we just looked at before, which was taking the post not in and looking for the current post ID and excluding that from the repeater so you don't get that duplicate. Now, a practical example of this would be if in this section, let's just go ahead and stick in a text element. And then I'm going to do a little bit of layout stuff here. So we're going to go with wrap with div. Let's go on our section here with a grid column count of, we're going to go 4. Then let me think here. So I'm going to move this div to the left of the repeater. This div is going to have a column span of 3, and then maybe that's a little bit too wide. What did I do to mess this up? Our repeater is just really crammed. That might have been my fault for changing this to horizontal. We'll change that to vertical. We also would probably want to shrink this font size pretty significantly. and I'm going to change this off an H1 to like an H2. And then I also set this div to be 65%, so let's change that to 100. So now in this, we're going to insert our content. So, of course, the fonts on here look kind of bad. I want to go change these real quick from Poppins to, I don't know, Montserrat, something else, just to change things up. And then, yeah, perfect. That's all we're going to do for the moment. So then what you might want to do is in not this div, but the one above it, this repeater, excuse me, we're going to wrap with a div, and then we're going to stick a heading on top of the repeater here, and we're going to change this to something like more posts from this category. That heading is extremely long, so let's bump this down to like 20 and like an H3. Let's go 16 pixels because we were using 16 before. And then I want to put some box shadow on this because what I want to demonstrate here is just like a practical example of this particular layout. So 0, 4, 10, 0. And then one more thing is on this div, we'll add, let's say 8 pixels of padding all the way around like that. Okay, so now save that guy and refresh. So this is obviously terrible looking, but it is an example of something that you could kind of anticipate on a real life site. So you would come to your blog singular layout, you would read your post here, and then you might have more posts from this category. Now again, like we already demonstrated, you're not going to find the current post in this list because it's excluding the current one, and that before was something that you would have to use offset for, or do some other kind of hack, like change it to order by random or whatever. Now what's so cool about this is some of these presets essentially give you the layout that, like a pre-built example to roll with. Now the other thing you could do is add a parameter here. So let's say you wanted to only show posts by a certain author. You could certainly do that. So in this case, there's only one author on this site, which is me, so there's not really a way for us to demonstrate that. But here is all of these options: comments, date and time. Meta keys would be for like advanced custom fields or just regular custom fields. MIME type we'll get to in a little bit. That's going to be how we're going to pull images out of our media library. And then pagination, has a password or not, post and page. So all these options right here, it looks pretty overwhelming if you're not familiar with it. That's going to be where it goes back to this particular GitHub example from earlier. So let me go back. So these are all those options right here. So you can see P, you just put an integer, so post ID. The name would be the post slug. So this is going to correlate pretty much exactly. So let's go back to our Oxygen real quick and see it says P name, title, page ID, etc. P name, title, page ID. It all correlates perfectly. So you can use that as kind of a cheat sheet to figure out whether, what you can do with these advanced queries, which is pretty incredible. You can do lots of really, really powerful stuff. You also have search and tag as well. And then you also have taxonomy query, which is exactly what's happening right here. So this is that built-in one for taxonomy query. So there is that particular example. Let me look at my notes real quick and see what other stuff I wanted to cover real quick. I think there's a few more built-in ones we can take a look at. So we were just looking at related posts by term. So you also have random related posts by term. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just go category, and then it's going to randomize our list here instead of it being organized by the default date. So if we go to edit, now you can see it's essentially exactly what we were just looking at before, except it changed to order by rand, which is what you do. You don't type in the whole random. Now this you could do with a manual query, but this right here would be extremely difficult or impossible. I'm not exactly sure if you could have done this with a manual query before. But now you can do all this just right out of the gate. So we had random related posts by terms, and then posts of current, post by author of current post or archive. Now that is pretty dope. So edit, basically what it's doing is just pulling in the current posts from the current author. So like I mentioned earlier, this would be extremely awesome for like a like a local directory site where you want to show posts that somebody has authored, you could combine it with like another video that I've done on my channel here for the, what do you call it? The front end posting. So that would be really cool. Bruno says, no possibility to have autocomplete CSS in the code block. That would be amazing if we could do that. So I'm actually going to change this real quick to related post by terms and switch it back to our category. So that is an example layout using the advanced queries. So let's save real quick. And now what I want to do, now is we're going to go pull in the images from our media library using a repeater on a regular page. So I'm going to clean up some of my tabs here. And what we're going to do is go to pages. We're going to go to, we're just going to call this one media, publish this bad boy, and then we're going to go to edit. Elijah says, do you mean like you get in Chrome DevTools where valid property values are exposed while you type? Yeah, that would be awesome. So now what we're going to do is add in a section. This layout is going to look really simple because we don't have a site-wide template, which is fine. So what we're going to do, toss in our repeater. And then I have my notes pulled up over here so I don't make a mistake and fumble, which I probably still will fumble, to be perfectly honest. But we're going to play with this a bit. So we're, like I said, going to pull in our images from our media library. So what we're going to do is go to Query, Advanced, and Edit. We're going to add a parameter. So this first one, our post type is going to be attachment. So we're going to scroll all the way down here. Not sure where all of this stuff is quite yet, so I'm going a little bit slow. Post type is attachment. Then we're going to add a new parameter. The post MIME type is going to be image. So post, oops, it's under MIME type. So post MIME type equals image. And then our post status coming down here. So where is it? Post status. In this case, because it's an attachment, we need inherit. We're going to add, did I just hear somebody knock on my door? Hopefully not, because they're not getting an answer. Then post status, inherit. Now we have post per page. So we're going to go with all the way down here. Post per page is going to just simply be 6. And then we also need to do, I think we want to do no found rows as well, if I'm not mistaken, because we are setting our post per page to 6 and we only want 6 to pop up. So no found rows here, we're going to just set that to true. Now, what we need to do is inside of our repeater, let's go to apply real quick and see if that's pulling in. Yes, it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Now, you might immediately just go to image and stick in the featured image, which does work. No, it doesn't. Oh, wait, not an image. The text here. So if you go with text and then you just insert the post content, then you can see it does pull in your images for you. Now, the downside to this is that you don't have control over the sizing. So if you change things like the width, it doesn't actually resize the image. As you can see, it just changes the size of that square. So what you can do is if you go with a div, we're going to go to the, let's see, advanced background dynamic data. We're going to go to advanced PHP function return value. And then all you need to do is function name of WP get attachment URL. If we insert that, then you can see now we have the image right there in this div. So the beauty of this is that then you can control the size. So let's go with 500 wide and 500 tall. It's kind of actually huge. Let's drop that to 350. So 350, and then of course you can change your settings to be like cover, left 50, and top 50. So there's that. And then you probably also want there to be some margin underneath this repeater div. So let's go 32. And then now we would go repeater, layout, oh, excuse me, not layout, grid. Enable grid, and we'll go column count of 3. That looks nice. So now it's going to pull in the 6 most recent images from our media library based on that query that we just added. So that one I thought was pretty cool. I have had people ask me about that numerous times, and to be perfectly honest, before this advanced query function came out for the repeater, I didn't really have a good answer for them other than, hand code it. But now you can do that right out of the box, which is super awesome. So next up, we are going to do the order by comment count. So I thought this one was pretty cool. And we're going to keep moving here to do some actual examples. So now we're going to go with our blog index, and then this one will be our blog post index right here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually trying to think about the layout. If we want to start fresh or just copy from the blog singular layout. I think we'll just start fresh. We'll just edit right here directly with Oxygen, and we'll just go from here. So won't look anything special, but it will certainly be functional. That's for sure. While I'm getting this stuff set up, I love to see in chat what you guys think is the most exciting part about this update, what example use cases you're going to try to, situate here. And yeah, when this came out, I was pretty stoked. I didn't realize the power of it right off the bat, but it's pretty awesome. So what we're going to do here is this is our blog post index. So let's go with a section. I probably should have copied that layout from before, but that's okay. Inside this repeater, let's just add a columns element to speed it up super quick, 4060. Again, we're going to just add in an image element that is our post's featured image. And then over here, we'll just stick in a heading and then insert the title. I'm going to add some margin underneath that. And then now is where we're going to stick in our text for our comment count. So insert data, comments number, no comments, one comment. I'm just going to leave all that stuff blank and insert this. So then that one says no comments. Let's now go to our repeater, and we're going to change the query to advanced. Let's see. So basically, let's go to edit, add. I was thinking about something else. Oh gosh, yeah, Stratos says, I would like an export-import query feature. That would be amazing to be able to share them. So now all we need to do is basically just go to order by, and then all you got to do is add value, and then comment underscore count. Had my keyboard slightly shifted to the right, so I can't type. And then I'm not sure if we actually need to specify the post type because we're on this index. I don't think we do. So if we apply, then now you can see this is organized by comments, which is super awesome. So let's see, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, and then it goes on to the next page. Does it eventually go to 0? Then it drops to no comments, which is super awesome. So in this particular case, Fabio, I'm using the blog index because if you set the post template to just basically the archive of post, it doesn't quite work right. You have to set the index and set it to your blog page. Let me go back real quick so this makes sense. For the blog index, if you use this post type of post, it still needs a page for it to be attached to. So instead, what I do is go to other, set this to blog post index, and then under the WordPress settings of reading, then I have a static page and my post page is set to blog, and that's how this outputs. So Stratus just made a good point. When you combine conditions with custom query, a new world opens up. So another example would be, like an example of that I just thought about would be if we can hide the comments when it says no comments. I don't actually know if that's possible. Would you use a condition for that? Has anything changed in conditions? Post comment count. Oh yeah, you could just use one of the built-in conditions. So post comment count would be greater than 0, right? Isn't that all you would need to do? So then save, and on the second page, this should disappear. Yep, there it is. So perfect. Yeah, that's that's pretty amazing. So I'm assuming you could probably hack together some kind of like review system or stars or something like that. J1M says, can you do something like if no post show this text? Not sure what you mean, but maybe there's a better example. So the order by comment count is pretty awesome. You could do something like this. You could basically adapt the, what do you call it? the order by ACF field value video that I did before, you had to basically take that, go to query, manual, and type in your query there. But now you can essentially just do that under the advanced tab. So I probably need to come up with an updated video on that. Kunal asks, can we create trending posts? I'm not sure how you could do that. There is a really basic tutorial from WP Beginner that I think I made a video on, and it just organizes posts based on the number of views that they've gotten. So that's kind of what you're asking. You'd have to do something, yeah, Elijah just said it. If you track trending by some ACF field like votes or views or something like that, you could totally do that with this. So the next thing that I wanted to do was set it up to be ordered by, or like published before or published after a specific date. So we have some posts on this site that are set to be in 2020. We also have some from 2016. So what we're going to do now is change it so that it only shows posts that are basically before 2017, which means, of course, we're only going to get the posts that have 2016 or earlier. So let's go with text here, and let's stick in the post date. So the post date, I'm just going to leave the format blank. So February 15th, 2021. And these actually aren't ordered by date, so that's good. So now we're going to change our query. Let's open our structure panel real quick to get to our repeater. Go to query, and we're going to go to edit. In this case, actually, I think we can just go, well, no, we're going to go to date query real quick. So date query, add value is going to be before, I believe. Before, and then we're going to go to year of 2016, and then we need to add a value here. And then I actually don't know what the specific months were. So in this case, I'm just going to choose month, and you put in the number of the month, not like December or Dec, it's got to be the month. And then you can also go with the day too. Now this goes back to this particular cheat sheet that I mentioned earlier. Let's see where the dates and stuff are right here. So year is the number, month number, week is 1 through 53. It says MySQL week is what it's looking for. So basically almost all of this stuff is integers. So you can also combine them as well like that. So now what we should have is only posts that are from 2016, December 2016 or older. So if we go ahead and apply this, then now you can see everything else that's left on our page is from before that time period. So I'm actually going to go back to just our blog page real quick, and we can see on the front end, it's working just fine. So we only have a few posts from that time period, which is super awesome because it's working. Now the other one is just basically the inverse. So you could go after, and then let's say like year of 2020, because I do believe we have a few posts from then. So I'm going to go with month of 1. So just January 2020, and anything newer than that should appear. So let's apply that. So there we go. We actually are getting the blog index. Hopefully that doesn't appear on the front end. It does. Oh, so we didn't specify the post type, which is why this is happening. But in any case, you can see this is working. So March, let's see if it changes anything other than March 21st, hopefully on this second page. February, there we go. So there is a date change. So you can see it's organizing by that, which is super cool. Very, very, very neat. I love it. And April 16th, 2020 is apparently when my homepage was created. Now, what else did I have here? So category with the most posts was one that I wanted to try to figure out. Let's see. So we are going to category with the most posts. I can't remember exactly how I plan to attack this one, but let me Google real quick. Show category with most posts WP query, and we're going to try to basically decipher this. There is definitely a way to do this. And I looked this up, and I didn't save the link, and I didn't make notes here. Trying to find... Well, so like this is how you're going to see WP queries written out in the wild most of the time. So these are going to almost essentially like translate directly into the new Oxygen interface. So you can look at this. So this is looking at an array for post type is equal to article. Post not in is the current ID, which you already have, just built straight into the Oxygen interface. Post per page, we already did that. The category looks like it's going for the current category ID. And then there's an additional meta query here. So that one is looking for key value equaling that. This isn't exactly what I want, though. I want a query that shows me the most. Well, actually, maybe that's not possible. I'm trying to think. What else can we do here? Get all categories and post. How to show the post of some category first, then all the others. Trying to think of another example here because I thought I had one more written down. Where did my tab go? No! My page. There we go. If you guys have any other examples you'd like to see or ideas, let's see. Let's go ahead and set up the order by ACF field. So that is, like I mentioned, a video that I've been meaning to update now that 3.8 is out. So if we go to custom field, we can create a field group. So let's go with order by posts. And then we don't need our Oxygen interface. So post type is equal to post is the default one. So position, we're going to go high after title. We're going to add just a simple field here. So we're going to call this one order value. Field type of text is good. And that's about all we need. So we're just going to publish this. We're going to go to some of our posts. And let's choose some of the ones that aren't immediately first, just for the sake of example. I'm going to go here to these three. And what we're going to do is set the order value here to like 125. And then I need to publish this before I get too far. So 125, 123, and then we'll change this one to 121. Now I have noticed with these order post functions that essentially what you want it to do is have the same like block of numbers. So let's say you have, 12 posts. You don't want to order them like 1 through 12. You want to do something like a triple digit number like this, so you can go 101, 102, etc. Because once it kind of adds that additional digit, I've noticed that it reorders the posts. Elijah says one fairly complicated one you could do is related post by ACF field. Show all posts where ACF field value is the same as current post ACF field. That's a good one. It also makes me think you could do like a taxonomy field. So that's actually a better example. Let's scrap this. Order by post is boring. I already have a video on it and you can just extrapolate that into this. So I'm just going to delete this whole field group. And then I'm trying to think of your example, Elijah. You said related post by ACF field. Show all posts where ACF field value is the same as the current post ACF field value. It's kind of like if you had a radio option for like show yes or no. Yeah. Let's go with just like, we're just going to call this field group extra fields. So what we're going to do is like choose related category, and then we're going to change this field type to taxonomy. The taxonomy is category and appearances checkbox, create terms, and then that should be all we need for the moment. Elijah says another example, teacher custom post type where slug is the name of the teacher. Fetch all posts of given type categorized as course with the tag of the teacher's name in this. Oh, wow. That's a super sick one. That's really cool. Yeah, because you could do a lot of stuff with this. It's crazy, the possibilities. Taylor says, I have done show relationship field post that also has a certain ACF field from the relationship. Man, that's a good one. There's some pretty deep stuff you could get into here. So this is something that I've been asked to do before, which you had to basically manually code before, which was like showing a similar category or something like a post object field. So let's go ahead and just try this. So we're going to publish this. let's go back to some of our posts and let's take a look. So if we look at, let's see. Wait, what am I trying to do here? Let me think and make sure this is actually a decent example. So if you have a choose related category, this would be something like maybe if you have a food article and you're talking about a restaurant in a particular place, you want to show other posts from that place maybe. So in this example, let's go edit this post, which has the category of food. And then our ACF field down here, the choose related category, we're going to set this to travel. And I'm going to sneeze real quick. No, I'm not. Of course not. That happened before. Travel, we'll go to update. And then let's go find another one that also has travel, which is this one right here. And we are going to uncheck featured, and we're going to set this one to food. So, oh, no. That's not what I meant to do. Not here. I'll leave the, I forget what it was, attractions. I want my ACF field for taxonomy to be travel, right? Isn't that what I did? Yes. Okay, cool. Got myself confused by editing the actual built-in categories. So we'll close out of this. We don't need that. Let's real quick refresh on the front end. Strato says, do I have small filtering in the very near future? Maybe. That's a good thought. Not exactly sure. I know Elijah's over there sitting behind his computer like, mwahaha. Okay. So now let's change our, let's see, we're on our index though. Is this what we want? No, we want to go back to our singular post type, or excuse me, our singular template here. Edit with oxygen. We're not in oxygen, so we're just going to jump right through that prompt and keep on going here. I wanted to say thank you guys for the incredible support on all of these live streams. They've been performing extremely well on the channel. Gotten lots of great feedback, so that's why I'm doing this in a live stream format instead of trying to hack together a video of this. So hopefully you guys enjoy this format, because I certainly do. So now what we're going to do is go to our post real quick. So this one's title is, can I paste in that search field? Oh yeah, you can. So now what I'm going to do is, let's see, can I pull in that dynamic data? Let's see, so can you go the content of that ACF field? So insert data, ACF, choose related category, select what you want to insert. Is the term ID? No, I actually want the term content. So that's popping in the ID. Let me go grab the PHP real quick so we can actually see what the category is supposed to be and add that into like a great kind of, example. So let's see. ACF taxonomy field PHP ACF taxonomy. So this should be relatively simple because their documentation just has so much good stuff. Display a single value. I think this is going to work. We need to add a code block though instead. So code block will be PHP. And then I think we need to change our field name right there to whichever name we just called this. So this is choose related category. Get field, choose related category, and apply that bad boy. H2, term, name, description. So display values from a selected term. Choose, do. This is what I have to do when I'm actually trying to make this work. There we go. Oh no. Dang it. Term name. Why is it not pulling in what I wanted? I just wanted to tell me the name of the category that's in that ACF field. Maybe I don't need to do it this way. ACF taxonomy. I might just be overcomplicating this a bit. Page not found, of course. Field name. Oh. maybe it's load. I don't want thumbnail for each as term. Get term link. PHP echo term name. Is that it? So there's no color, so I can get rid of that guy. And then I think that's probably just going to break my whole layout here. Yep, I don't want that. If any of you guys can chime in real quick, all I wanted to do was basically just get it to output my term name that I had in that taxonomy field. So you would be like, you know, similar posts from the, you know, the whatever AAA category. And then that is going to be what's the value of that ACF field for taxonomy. Get the ID. Let's see. There's a WP is mobile function. Oh, you guys are talking about something different. I'm going to keep searching then. So get image from taxonomy. Maybe it's more complicated than I thought it was. I thought it would be just as simple as outputting the selections from that particular field, but I guess not. How to get term. Echo get field unless I'm missing. Oh, is it that simple? ACF get field. I didn't think that I could just do it that simply. So basically, Andre, what I wanted to do is just output the selection that I made right here in this ACF taxonomy field. So right here, I chose travel. And then I want it to basically stick that word travel, you know, right here. So similar posts from the travel category, for instance. So is it just as simple as the get field? Let's see. Do you have the field in ACF or is it taxonomy? The field is ACF, yeah. So field name. And then our field name was choose related category. Is it really that simple? Oh, okay, yeah. So see, Elijah, it just outputs the ID, like that term ID. So that's what I looked up, the ACF taxonomy field value. And it's close, but then the documentation documentation is broken. Sick, I love it. So it's almost like this. From the taxonomy field name is choose related category. And then is that where this goes? ACF get field, change the return value. Oh, is it term object? Oh, wow. So I need to change the term object from the ID. Oui. That makes sense. So if we save this then, or actually, this right here is just a heading that's pulling in that. But I still don't think that works. No, that doesn't. So it was just simply get field. Term object should make the example code you're using trying to, oh. This one. Hey, John, really happy you're here. Glad to see you. Use ACF tools from the Chrome. Actually, I think I have that extension. Let me look real quick. This still doesn't want to work. So I have get field is the current taxonomy field. And then that's pulling in the term name. Make sure you resave the post. Okay, so update, and we'll update this guy. And then apply. Still doesn't want to quite work. Now, I don't need the term description, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So save. No, still not working. So similar post from the category is what I want it to say. But I'm going to indent this so it's a bit more readable. So Stratos says, did you get the link? I'm not sure what link you're talking about. I'm not sure if you sent it to me somewhere else. But yeah, why is that not working? Term name. Yes, it is. I use voluptame velnomimus. Yeah, that's the one. ACF checkbox. I don't think that's the one though, because this is a taxonomy field, unless it's different. That says for each colors, blah blah blah. Yeah, but this is a taxonomy field instead of the bloom. Hey Joe, glad you're here. So I don't know what I'm missing exactly. Anyway, what I wanted to do was I changed this tailor to returning the term object. So this is just pulling in the taxonomy of category. And all I wanted to do is output what was selected in that ACF field. So get field, choose related category, echo. Andre asked, can you try var dump? Let me go back here. So ACF tools is actually enabled. Maybe it's not turned on this particular example. Why is it not? If I go to pin, reload, copy code, I am very skeptical that this is going to work. Wow, it did. Thank you, Flying Web Solutions. I actually made a video on that and completely forgot it existed. So I just used the ACF tools extension. And so this basically says, choose related category is getting the field, and this is what it's doing. So this witchcraft here is making that a link. So I appreciate that. This is exactly what I wanted it to do. So long story short, if you're having that trouble and you want to do what I just did, get the ACF tools extension, and then it will spit out the code there for you. So this code block is exactly what I wanted it to do. So now that we've gotten to this point, what I'm going to do is just quickly go over the overall mission here. So what I did was create an ACF field for related taxonomy, because in this, let's say, fake travel blog, on this particular post, it's a category about food. But let's say in the article, you're talking about a specific travel destination or something. What you might want to do is have your repeater show content from a particular category. And you wouldn't change your category here necessarily for organization. And then you basically then have the extra ACF field down here. So with that, we now have this one set to travel. So what I've done on the front end is in this code block, I've just written out this text. So similar posts from the ACF field that I just described, category. And so what that does is just basically stick this in here. So similar posts from the travel category. So Andre says, problem was that get field returns an array. And okay, so then it's basically creating that if loop. So now that's exactly what I wanted it to do. Not only does that put in the term that I selected, but it also makes it a link, which is pretty cool. So you have another spot where your stuff is linked. Now we need to change our repeater query here. So the query is going to go to edit, And then our taxonomy of category, I think is still going to be fine. The terms, let's go to data, advanced custom field, choose related category, and then I believe we want to go to term ID, if I'm not mistaken. The field will be slug, and then the post not in is our current post. So this might not work. Oh, wait. That didn't work. Because that's our current post. So nothing appears on the front end. So that means we have a slight mistake here. So let me think. So our post type is our current post. So that's fine. So our taxonomy query is the taxonomy of category. Our term, do we change it or leave this blank? Or do we... I don't think we're going to want URL. I think that's just going to not work as well, but it's worth a shot because I would try it anyway. This might be a case where you have to use the advanced return function. So maybe this actually isn't possible, at least not right off the bat. Post not in, that's fine because that's the current post. So do you have to go with meta key? Taxonomy query is array. The terms field, let's see. Maybe you have to specify the separator. Yeah, possibly. So it's ID and separator. I'm just going to do a comma. Is that going to work? No, it still doesn't work. So the terms ACF field. Now we did change this to term object instead of term ID. So it makes me wonder, first of all, is it going to break what we just set up? So let's go refresh this real quick. So that does actually change. So two things. Let's copy this code again real quick. We're going to go back over here to this code block and paste this back in and see if, oh wow, that changed the code quite a bit. So apply, and I think we now have, oh, it did not like that. So whatever we did here just like broke the site. So line 5, it's mad about, wait, did I make a mistake here? So let me delete this stuff and paste that in. So maybe this extension is not perfect. Yeah, it's really not, it really doesn't like that. Okay, so that is clearly not the route we're going to go down here. Unless, again, we have to go back and save the ACF fields like Elijah said. So hopefully you guys had nothing better to do today other than watching me fumble, but that was a given. When you joined the stream, you knew what was going to happen. So I have no sympathy. I'm going to delete that, save this template, and I'm going to refresh. So I'm on to something, I think. Maybe. So I'm going to copy this now. We're going to go back to our code block. We're going to stick this in here, and it's going to work this time. Nope, no it doesn't. Dang it! Oh, bummer. I thought we were onto something there. Now, switch this back to term object. We're going to copy that code again and get this working, and then we're going to figure this out. So paste, apply, come on. I want it to be easy. There we go. Okay, so it does actually work. We're back to where we started. So now the question is, what is our repeater query going to be? That will give us the intended result here. So our terms, so our taxonomy is category. Well, so the thing is, this term is technically a category, But maybe we need to go, is it meta key? What I wanted to do is output the posts in the category that are selected in this ACF taxonomy field. So the travel category, but in that ACF taxonomy field. So, oops, let me go back here. I don't think it's going to be meta key. The return type that is working Andre is term object. So meta key is not really going to help us. Meta compare. Is it meta query? So array, our key is going to be that ACF field, right? I believe. So would it be get field, choose related category? So query, edit. Yeah, you're not wrong there, Stratos. Yeah, Elijah, this is totally weeds territory. But do you guys kind of understand the thought process as far as what I'm trying to do? This is more complicated than it would appear on the surface, but this would be definitely something that would be very useful on larger sites where you want to let the client or somebody, select a similar category to output posts. So I'm thinking that this is not actually a taxonomy query, because although this is looking at the taxonomies, this is not the built-in taxonomy field. This is the ACF field for taxonomies. So let's see. So category, what if it's separator, term ID? I don't think this is going to work, but I want it to. No, that's not what I wanted. Stuff does pop up there. Maybe I'm going to have to revisit this one, because that's a tricky boy. Can you do a tutorial on the video playlist on the Oxygen Builder website, Elijah? That would be dope. Yep, that would be really, really cool. Don't you guys create taxonomies using CPT UI? Actually, yeah, that could be an easier way to do this. If you created a taxonomy for like related, well, no. I guess that would work. I guess that could work. Yeah, not exactly sure. So let me go back to this. So related post by terms. Related post by terms. Post format. Nimesh says query should probably be like this. I am patiently waiting. Elijah says you can do a taxonomy query using term ID if you can fetch the term ID from the ACF field, but I think you'll need a custom function to do that. Yeah, that's kind of what it's feeling like. There's a missing link here that's not quite there. So maybe there's a different way to do the related post function that's a bit more clean. So that's all that I was really trying to do, was like pick a similar category. So maybe you could do a dynamic like radio option or something. Get the ACF value of current post and then use the value to pull posts from that value category. Yeah, I don't think this one is actually going to be possible, unfortunately. Not at least now in our current setup. But what I want to do is just switch back over here to our blog setup. And that doesn't look good. Maybe I'll just choose a single post so we can just quickly wrap this guy up. So anyway, basically what we've done is kind of explore the 3.8 advanced query functionality. As you can see, you can totally get into the weeds with this and do some pretty crazy stuff. So I think there's a million examples of this. If you come up with some that you would like me to try to cover, definitely let me know. I think there's so much more to play with than appears here on the surface. And also you can sit here and spin your wheels for quite a while. But I think it's really, really interesting. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here for today. We've done some super long streams the last couple times. They've been over 3 hours, the last two of them. This one is a bit over an hour, so we'll kind of keep that as is. I do plan to do these live streams more often because they've been really well received. So I want to say thank you very much for your time and attention to watch all this stuff. I don't know what to say. People are just loving this format, and I have to say I do too. So I appreciate that very much. In any case, like I said, I am going to close out here. So as always, I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. And we will come up with a new topic for later in the week. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.